Is there something evil in naming everything Trump?
As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover-ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game.
Thanks for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terri Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is March 31st, 2026, and every day we see something on the news. This is going to be named after Trump, and this is going to be named after Trump. A week might go by, something else is going to be named after Trump. But when you put it all together, is there something evil with everything being named after Trump? Let's jump into this. Exalt means to raise in rank, power, or character, or to praise someone or something highly. From the Latin, to lift up or high. It implies elevating someone to a position of great power or honoring them. Exalt, hold something or someone in high regard, very high regard. Think or speak highly of. It also means glorification. Trump wants iconic places named after him. As of early 2026, President Donald Trump has initiated efforts to place his name on prominent U.S. landmarks, including proposing to rename Washington's Dulles International Airport and New York's Penn Station. And then he announced the Trump accounts and the Trump Gold Card. Unlock life in America if the price is right. Pay to play. You can be an illegal if you want to spend $5 million to buy his card. But if you're not into that, you can get a Trump Bible or the Trump crypto coin. All of a sudden, I had flashbacks from the world with Van Halen. I'm your ice cream man. All the flavors to satisfy. You can get your Trump account. You can get your Trump coins. You can get your Trump $5 million card. You can get your Trump Bible. You can get your Trump crypto coin. He is touching every aspect of human life. It's going to get crazy. Trump appointed panel. Of course, a Trump appointed panel approves 24 karat gold coin featuring Trump's image. Federal law says living presidents cannot appear on currency, but commission approves the design for U.S.'s 250th birthday. Of course he can, because it's lawless. President Donald J. Trump Expressway bill passes. This is in Louisiana. A push to name a proposed new Mississippi River bridge after President Donald Trump has moved forward at the Louisiana State Capitol, March 23, 2026. A push to name a proposed new Mississippi River bridge after President Donald Trump has moved forward at the Louisiana State Capitol. January 17, 2026, Trump gets a portion of Southern Boulevard and Palm Beach County Road named after him. February 20th, 2026, White House cheers approval to rename Palm Beach Airport after Trump. Today, March 31st, 2026, airport cleared to be renamed for Donald Trump as he unveils design for his skyscraper library. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill on Monday renaming Palm Beach International Airport to the President Donald J. Trump International Airport. 8 hours ago. This is Trump's America, and we don't know it yet. Do dictators rename places after themselves to elevate their importance? Yes, dictators frequently rename places, including cities, streets, airports, and even national landmarks after themselves, their family members, or their ideology as a tool to cultivate a cult of personality, to project omnipotent power, and to solidify their legacy. This practice aims to erase previous history, project an image of great leadership, and place their name on public consciousness. While all this is happening, people aren't putting the pieces together. What is being built? Hitler, the great dictator? Did Hitler rename buildings, roads after himself? Yes, the Nazi regime extensively renamed streets, squares, and public buildings after Adolf Hitler, especially after he gained power in 1933 as part of a pervasive personality cult. Trump pursues his legacy one name at a time. As early as 2026, President Donald Trump is actively rebranding federal institutions, landmarks, and infrastructures by adding his name to them, aiming to establish a personal legacy. Key actions include renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and rebranding sites like the Kennedy Center. U.S. Institute of Peace renamed after Trump. In December 2025, the Trump administration rebranded the U.S. Institute of Peace to the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace and added his name to the Washington, D.C. headquarters. Trump renames Institute of Peace for himself. House Republicans reintroduce bill to rename Washington Dulles Airport Donald J. Trump International Airport. So there'll be a Trump Airport in Florida and a Trump Airport in D.C.
The Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. will now be known as the Trump Kennedy Center after the board of directors voted today to change the name. Remember, when Donald Trump came to office, he fired the entire board of directors and installed his friends and loyalists, and he's been joking about the name change for a while, but today they made it official and is now known as the Trump Kennedy Center. What do you think?
Now Trump is naming a class of battleships after himself. Trump names battleship class after himself, advancing his personalization crusade. President Donald Trump arrives to announce the Navy's new Golden Fleet initiative, unveiling a new class of warships at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida on December 22, 2025. The new class of heavily armed warships will be named after Trump himself. And Trump is building an arch in D.C. named after himself.
To be that big. That's probably what you're asking. If you're one of those people who don't like Trump's plan to build a brand new 20-story tall arch in Washington, D.C.
We're building an arc like the Arc de Triomphe, but to be honest with you, it blows it away.
Well, size-wise, it's true. Here's the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, which is already really big. Like, here's you for reference. Here's the arch. North Korea has an even bigger one. Mexico City's is bigger still, one of the biggest of its kind in the world. But here's Trump's proposed Independence Arch. He apparently wants it to be 250 feet tall to mark
30 feet bigger than the largest one in Mexico.
Meticulously carved statues, eagles etched into the corners, this winged Lady Liberty in gold. And it's all this that has some people asking, not just why does it have to be so big, but also why does it have to be so big there? The exact spot Trump wants to build this thing is right in the grassy roundabout between the Arlington National Cemetery and the Lincoln Memorial. So the first thought, especially historians and preservationists have, is that all the pillars and gold and eagles and statues and the sheer size of this thing is just going to absolutely dominate everything around it. It'd be like building the CN Tower next to Sudbury's Big Nickel, you know? Like, come on, pick another place. It would make Arlington House just look like a dollhouse. But it's not clear to me whether Trump is moved by any of that at all.
What is this, Mr. President?
Thank you guys, thank you guys. Thank you all, you come this way, thank you.
For who? Yeah, no, I know where it is, but who's it for?
Thank you guys.
The Arc to Trump?
What Trump sees as boldness, ambition, power, his critics say is a disregard, almost a contempt for tradition, convention, history.
The Antichrist will be the lawless one. He will have no regard for tradition, and he will exalt himself.
Convention, history. Consider the Oval Office, covered in gold, the Rose Garden, paved over, or the East Wing of the White House, demolished without approval from Congress to create a new 900-person ballroom.
I built many ballrooms and many buildings, and that's my greatest strength.
Critics say there is a cost to Trump's remaking of America. There's also a financial one. In the case of the Independence Arch, we just don't know what it will be yet.
As of early 2026, President Donald Trump proposed a massive Independence Arch in Washington, D.C. to mark the nation's 250th anniversary with a 250-foot neoclassical design dubbed the Arc de Trump. Did Hitler have an arch? Yes, Adolf Hitler planned to build a massive triumphal arch in Berlin as part of his redesigned Germany. March 28, 2026. All things Trump has put his name and face on. Commemorative gold coins, banners on federal buildings, Trump RX, Trump battleships, the Kennedy Center, the Institute of Peace, now airports, roads, national parks, the Trump accounts, gold cards, stimulus checks. Trump's obsession with renaming buildings after himself is about more than ego. Cultural omnipresence is a strong man tactic. And not only is it evil, but Trump is capitalizing off of this. Is the Mississippi Bridge renamed for Trump tied to federal funding? Yes, the proposal to rename a new Mississippi River Bridge in Louisiana after Trump is directly tied to securing federal funding. Oh, so if Louisiana doesn't name the bridge after Trump, they won't get infrastructure money? Trump's bid to rename Penn Station after himself looks like a presidential shakedown. Is the Penn Station rename after Trump tied to federal funding? Yes, reports indicate that President Trump is tied the potential renaming of New York's Penn Station and Washington Dulles International Airport after himself to the release of over $16 billion in federal funding. Think about this. Trump allegedly offered to release federal funds meant for the Gateway Infrastructure Project connecting New York and New Jersey if Schumer facilitated the renaming of both transit hubs. Trump promises Schumer funding if he renames those after him. Is the Dulles Airport renamed for Trump tied to federal funding? Yes, reports indicate that the Trump administration tied the renaming of Dulles International Airport and New York Penn Station to the release of billions in federal funding for the $16 billion Gateway Rail Tunnel project connecting New York and New Jersey. Trump reportedly offered to unfreeze these funds if Senator Chuck Schumer supported the name changes. Trump wants iconic places renamed after him. As of early 2026, President Donald Trump has initiated efforts to place his name on prominent U.S. landmarks, including proposing the rename of Washington Dulles International Airport and New York's Penn Station. He reportedly linked this funding for a New York infrastructure project, while his name has already been applied to the Kennedy Center and the U.S. Institute of Peace. Now, this is where you'll find it interesting. Donald Trump is actively seeking to have major transportation hubs renamed in his honor, specifically targeting Washington Dulles International Airport and the New York Penn Station, as well as potentially Palm Beach International Airport, and now it's been done. Reports indicate he proposed this to officials in exchange for unlocking federal funds for infrastructure projects, while his company has also filed for trademarks for the use of his name for airports. Trump organization trademark raises suspicions that family could profit from Florida airport name change. Marketing or cult of personality. Trump's name and face are all over the place. What is a cult of personality? A cult of personality is an extreme, idealized devotion to a charismatic leader, often cultivated through propaganda, mass media, and spectacles. It elevates a political or religious figure to a mythical, infallible status, creating a God-king image to secure absolute loyalty, suppress dissent, and maintain power. Cult of personality is a term usually pejorative in nature, which refers to a situation where a public figure is presented to the populace via propaganda as an amazing person who should be admired, loved, and respected. March 26, Trump's signature is set to be added on Americans' currency. President Trump is poised to be the first sitting U.S. president to have his signature appear on the U.S. dollar. President Trump's signature will appear on U.S. dollars later this year, the Treasury Department said on Thursday. Treasury plans to put Trump's signature on all new U.S. paper currency and break with tradition, or the law. Trump is ruining U.S. tradition. Do dictators put their name on currency? Historically, placing a leader's name or image on currency is a hallmark of dictators, monarchs, and authoritarian rulers, symbolizing absolute control and personality cults. It is a practice that has been used by autocrats to remind citizens of their power and to legitimize their rule. Do dictators rename roads and buildings and landmarks after themselves? Yes, it is a very common practice for dictators, autocrats, and leaders with strong authoritarian tendencies to rename roads, like in Florida and Louisiana Bridge, and buildings, the Kennedy Center and everything else, the Arc de Trump, cities and landmarks after themselves. Trump is wanting to build the Freedom Cities after themselves. This behavior is a key component of cult of personality used to project an image of omnipresent power, solidify their legacy, and force public adoration. Force it. Trump, like other strongmen, is renaming things after himself. From Roman emperors to tin pot dictators, strongmen have long named things after themselves. Is the naming of places after a dictator a form of brainwashing? Yes. The naming of places, streets, and public structures after a dictator, this is from National Institute of Health, is widely recognized by historians and psychologists as a powerful form of political propaganda and indoctrination, often aimed at reshaping public consciousness, commonly referred to as a form of brainwashing. This tactic is used to normalize the leader's absolute power and force loyalty by saturating public spaces with their identity. Trump pursues his legacy one name change at a time, similar to dictators. As of 2026, Trump has intensified efforts to cement his legacy by rebranding federal buildings, public spaces, and institutions with his name and face. A move critics and historians note is akin to dictators. A banner of Trump is unfurled at the Justice Department's headquarters. Did Hitler place banners of pictures of himself on buildings? Yes, the Nazi regime, under the guidance of Joseph Goebbels' Ministry of Propaganda, heavily promoted a cult of personality around Adolf Hitler, which included the widespread public display of his image, portraits, and posters. I think I've seen this before.
I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so what am I defending now?
Trump says forget about gas prices. Where is his statue?
That flows to American refineries on the Gulf Coast, lowering the price of gas in America. So it's a...
Forget that. When are they going to do the statue?
March 27th from the Wall Street Journal. Trump floats renaming the Strait of Hormuz over in the Middle East after himself. President Trump renamed the Gulf of Mexico and applauded efforts to add his name to the Kennedy Center. Now he wants to rename the Strait of Hormuz. CNBC reports Trump calls the Strait of Hormuz the Strait of Trump. President Donald Trump winkingly referred to the Strait of Hormuz as the Strait of Trump. We are seeing this on the news every day, and nobody sees the evil empire that's being built under our nose. A dictator rising, putting his hallmark trademarks in true dictatorship form. Now we know he went to the UN to create the Board of Peace to oversee Gaza rebuild, and he appointed himself the head of the Board of Peace, and now he's saying the reach of the Board of Peace will go beyond Gaza. Then after the UN established that with Trump, now the United Nations, the global entity, is on the verge of collapse. Yes or no, is the United Nations potentially going to collapse? Yes, the United Nations is facing a potential imminent financial collapse, according to warnings from the Secretary General Antonio Guterres in early 2026. A record $1.56 billion in outstanding dues, driven heavily by unpaid U.S. contributions and restrictive, outdated budget rules, have brought the organization to a critical, unsustainable liquidity crisis that could halt operations. So the United Nations quit paying, and now the UN is about to collapse. So what position will that put Trump in as the head of the Board of Peace? Isn't it feasible that if the United Nations would collapse, that the Board of Peace could emerge as the most powerful global institution? It is a topic of intense debate among international relations analysts whether the Board of Peace, an initiative launched by U.S. President Donald Trump in January 2026, could emerge as the dominant global institution if the United Nations were to collapse. January 20th, 2026, Trump floats Board of Peace to replace the UN. Signals a major global power shift. Trump's Board of Peace, rebuilding Gaza or remaking the world. And where was the first meeting held? The Trump administration's Board of Peace is slated to hold its inaugural meeting in Washington, D.C., February 19, 2026, after the UN Security Council authorized the board in November 2025 with a mandate that lasts until December 31st, 2027. But if the UN collapses, it's going to be forever. Pending renewal, the first board meeting will be held at the newly renamed Donald J. Trump United States Institute of Peace. President Trump ratifies Board of Peace in historic ceremony, opening path to hope and dignity for Gazans. Today, in a historic ceremony in Davos, Switzerland, President Donald J. Trump formally ratified the Charter of the Board of Peace, establishing an official international organization. Former Roman emperors to tin-pot dictators, strongmen have long named things after themselves. Let me get this again. Now Trump has to. Do dictators name important places to solidify their dominance? Yes, dictators frequently name important places such as cities, airports, bridges, and highways after themselves, their family members, or predecessors to solidify their dominance. Do dictators name important places after themselves to forbid it being challenged? Yes, dictators and authoritarian leaders frequently name important places, cities, and monuments and infrastructure after themselves as a deliberate strategy to solidify power, cultivate a cult of personality, and deter challenges to their authority. Will the Antichrist have a cult of personality? Yes, according to biblical interpretation and many theological perspectives, the Antichrist is expected to command a massive global cult of personality. This is from March 31st, today. Trump unveils vision for presidential library, complete with a golden escalator. How tall will this new Trump library be? Based on renderings released in March 2026, the proposed Donald J. Trump Library in Miami, Florida, is designed as a skyscraper appearing to be approximately 47 to 50 stories tall. The design is a towering, modern, gold and glass structure designed to stand as a significant landmark in downtown Miami waterfront. It's designed to hold replicas of the Oval Office, the White House ballroom, and other memorabilia. And Eric Trump released a look of it. And doesn't that remind you of Gaza? Trump's vision for rebuilding Gaza with the gold statues in Gaza? And the song talks about Trump Gaza shining bright, talking about a brand new light. Jesus is called the light of the world. And they're singing about Trump bringing a brand new light. Donald Trump has come to set you free, bringing the light for all to see.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal.
And a couple of years ago, I did a whole video on this, a brand new light. And what is above where it says Trump Gaza? A goat head. Trump even putting his name in the Gaza rebuild from the Board of Peace that he's sitting on. Will the Antichrist exalt his own name? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, the Antichrist will profoundly exalt himself, magnifying his own name and authority above all gods and objects of worship. He is described as a boastful figure who claims divinity, sits in the temple of God, and proclaims himself to be God. Will the Antichrist exalt his name? Yes, according to biblical prophecy, the Antichrist will exalt himself above every so-called God or object of worship, demanding he be worshipped as God himself. Self-exaltation. Do dictators name important places after themselves for self-exaltation? Yes, dictators and authoritarian leaders frequently name important places, infrastructure, and institutions after themselves, their family members, or ideologies to promote a cult of personality, establish legitimacy, and ensure their legacy. This practice is a form of political propaganda designed to project power and demand public adoration. Yes or no, according to the Bible, does the Antichrist bring in a new world order? Yes, according to many interpretations of Bible prophecy, specifically Daniel 7 through 8 and Revelation 13, the Antichrist is expected to establish a global political, economic, and religious system, often referred to as a new world order, uniting nations under his authoritarian rule before his defeat. January 15th, 2026. Trump advisor says President Trump is creating the New World Order. Kevin Hassett, the director of National Economic Council, boasted on Fox Business that President Donald Trump was creating the New World Order. He is being exalted. Exalt means to rise in rank, power, or character, or to praise someone or something highly, to glorify. And the Antichrist will try to exalt himself above God. According to the Bible, does the Antichrist exalt himself above God? Yes, according to the Bible, the Antichrist, referred to the man of lawlessness who's changing all these rules, putting his signature on the money, putting his picture on money, creating a new financial system, all the things that go against the U.S. Constitution. He will exalt himself above God. 2 Thessalonians 2:4 says states he opposes and exalts himself above every so-called God or object of worship. He will exalt himself above God, and he will demand himself to be worshiped. He will demand every person on the planet exalt him and worship him. Well, guess what? I'm exalting and worshiping Jesus alone.
Thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. Thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. I exalt thee. I exalt thee. I exalt thee. Oh Lord, I exalt thee. I exalt thee. I exalt thee. Oh Lord, thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. Thou, O Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods.
Guard your heart and where your affections are being laid at. The New World Order is being built, and the Antichrist that will exalt himself, put his name on everything, demand worship, remind you who's higher than anybody. But my Jesus' name is higher than any other name. The Bible says that God has given Jesus a name that is higher above every name, and that at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow and every tongue confess to the glory of the Father that Jesus Christ is Lord. Worship God. We are going into perilous times. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. This is not the time for compromise. This is not the time for compromise. And this is not the time to be afraid. The Bible says that the righteous are as bold as a lion. Daniel says that the people that know their God shall be strong and do great exploits. Revelation says the first group that Jesus Christ listed that'll be thrown into hell is the cowards. This is not the time to be a coward. Stand up for the truth and worship God alone. I love y'all. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate the content that you find on this channel, would you prayerfully consider supporting the ministry?